is atrocious right now.
All right, Louisa. Oh, I do want to talk about Manziel, so that's awesome. Okay.
All right,
Did you listen to
Okay.
PMT?
I did.
All right, let's try this. Hold on.
All right.
Going outside, just like I like it.
It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My, my. It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take some time and give the world a try. That wasn't a lie. My.
Oh, everybody, it is Valentine's Day week. Welcome, those of you catching us out through iTunes or whatever your favorite podcast listening device, app, whatever it is. It's Lone Outside, loneoutside.com. Thanks for taking the time, everybody. We are jam-packed with a show we'd like to call tonight that is subtitled New York Sports Blows. So we got a whole lot of conversation about how bad New York sports is. We do appreciate you choosing us. We know you do have a choice when it comes to your sports and recreation podcast, and we do thank you for choosing Lone Outside. Let's go.
Why don't you go back home to your street malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh yeah! The greatest beer in all Zephyr!
Something from the bar.
Yeah, I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of party. Stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge.
Tonight, coming to you from Dallastown, Pennsylvania, produced and canned by the Windridge Farm Brewing Company. I am rocking from the Hunt series. It is, for those of you watching on Facebook Live, Windridge Snow Owl Spiced Imperial Stout. This was another one from our Super Bowl contest, and it is damn delicious. It was the dark horse of the challenge. Brewed for short days and cold nights, this farm favorite is meant to be shared with friends and family. Snow Owl is packed with a roasted blend of cinnamon, ginger, and allspice. In at 10%.
Indeed.
It is great. I totally recommend it. I haven't really said that much about any specific beer here. It was something I had not heard of before. I had not tasted before. Nobody at the party, the little small gathering we had it. and everybody loved it. Go get it. Brett Denville, what's up?
What's going on, buddy? I think Yampo will love this. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it,
Oh God.
but I haven't been able to do a lot of drinking recently. I've had a busy 2 weeks or so, and so I decided, let's keep that rolling a little bit. I know we got a huge show coming next week, so I have my beer stashed away for next week, but I decided to skip this week, so I'm going with a nice swell water.
Cricket.
Beefcake.
Nikki, Parsippany, help us out.
You want to talk about going to the back of your fridge? I have, yeah. So I don't know if you guys know about AC/DC, but their last album that came out was about 2015, Rock or Bust album, and with the album they released a beer. So this is the AC/DC Rock or Bust German beer from about, I don't know, it must be at least 2 or 3 years old in my fridge. It's a German lager. Tastes like your typical like Heineken, I guess.
That's because it's gone bad.
It's a little slightly skunked, has a slightly skunked taste to it, but it's great. So cheers.
Nice, delicious, a nice Pilsner looking, a nice 2-year aged AC/DC Pilsner.
For all you watching on Facebook Live, here's the can. If you want to pick it up, it's probably not being sold anymore.
Where did you get it? Did you buy it just at a normal liquor store?
It was at the Joe Canals in Parsippany for a limited time only.
Oh, Joe Canals. You got to love Joe Canals. Limited time release right there.
Classic.
What do you think ages better, AC/DC's Singer or AC/DC Pilsner?
Probably the Pilsner.
All right, let's do it.
Who cares?
We have a very special edition of Who Cares this evening. I don't know if those of you have been paying attention, but there's been a lot of stuff going on in the world of sports lately. These first couple Who Cares come to you courtesy of some criminals. I mean, let's get it straight. Alleged criminals, right? All right, whatever. So first one right off the bat here. Esteban Loaiza. Brett, you sent a text message to the group here about what had happened to Esteban Loaiza. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad, huh?
Allegedly.
I know when I read it, I was like, holy cow. And so he was arrested on Friday with 20 kilos of heroin or cocaine. I'm not positive, but that's according to San Diego police. I guess he goes to court tomorrow to face felony drug charges. He's probably looking at some serious time. So I don't know what Loaiza got caught up in. I don't know if you guys have heard more of the story, or if he's a man acting on his own, or he's some part of some larger cartel that's trying to move weight here. But I mean, this is absolutely insane.
I mean, they said the guy made about $45 million over the course of his career. You know, what he would need to be involved in drugs for, I don't know, besides the fact that he probably blew a lot of his money. I don't know.
I mean,
why else would it be involved with that?
It's obviously money related, right? That's why people sell drugs, right? To make money. Like Pablo Escobar didn't get 45 million and then go like, yeah, I'm good, man. Like I'm going to stop now.
I'm going to settle down now with 45.
Yeah. Get myself a nice little place in the burbs, get a pool, make sure the retirement fund's done. But like he kept going. So
Karen, that was all the money we had, Karen.
They were never going to find it, Karen.
I just watched that again yesterday.
It definitely holds up, right?
It's amazing. Are you kidding me?
I want to have this conversation. This is totally off the rails right now, but I rewatched The Godfather. I think I sent you guys a text message about it a couple weeks ago.
That's on Netflix too.
I don't think it holds up anywhere nearly as well as Goodfellas.
It's a lot slower.
It's
Yeah,
very slow. Like
It
that
is.
movie would never be made today, ever.
No, absolutely not.
no, not in the length that it was.
No.
It also wouldn't be made today because like there's no robots blowing buildings up. So there's not a guy in an iron suit flying really fast, so we can't make that movie.
We were watching the Super Bowl, and we had some friends over here, and they're not Marvel fans, and they like the commercial. I think it was for Infinity War for the like the latest Avengers movie came on, and Erica and I were like, oh, we're excited for it, and one girl looks at it and goes, yeah, real exciting, a bunch of cartoon people walking through a forest.
It's pretty accurate.
She's not wrong.
Like when I think about it,
Yeah, she's not wrong.
not entirely wrong. But I don't know about Loaiza. I mean, honestly, the only reason his name rings a bell is that he had a cup of coffee with the Yankees, right? For me, I mean,
Yeah, he had a really good season in Chicago one year, and he finished like second in the Cy Young. But he was virtually a mediocre pitcher,
right.
his entire career, and he had one good year. He's pretty much like the pitching version of Jacoby Ellsbury, and he, kind of made a living off of that one good year, and he did have some time in New York. So the second place Cy Young year and the time in New York are what I recognized him from.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, we'll see, right? I mean, it's certainly going to continue to unfold.
Yeah.
Where
would
was did either of you catch where
San Diego, I believe.
So it was
Or in Mexico via San Diego.
See, Poppy.
Reporters, I think. I
No
can't
one.
remember.
You're saying, You're saying you don't know and you don't care. I'm gonna kind of go out of order here just for a second because I wanted to piggyback off of the cops edition here with Ruben Foster.
The arrest train.
He was arrested for domestic violence again. I think it's his second time in a month.
It is. That's right.
So what does that mean? Like, is this guy is he gonna be thrown out of the league? Is
He's probably going to be cut by the 49ers, and it's going to be a matter of judgment is if any other team wants to pick him up. I mean, I don't understand how you could keep a guy gets arrested twice in a month. I mean, that's pretty uncalled for. There's no sort of excuse for that.
Well, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's there now, so you would think that he would just, sprinkle his, Patriot pixie dust on him, and then he would certainly go about cleaning up his act. Isn't that how it works, Brett?
There's no reason to attack the Pats right now. I'm so very sad.
I just thought maybe that's how it worked. Like
I don't know.
A criminal comes to your team and you sprinkle the pixie dust on him, and then suddenly he's fine, right?
I don't know if that's exactly how it works. I think the real tragedy probably of all this is that he'll never get a shot in the XFL.
That is.
Oh, God damn it.
That is a tragedy.
Who cares? His agent probably told him that.
Speaking of never getting a shot in the XFL, Johnny Manziel went on, I believe, our sister station, Barstool Radio, was
that's correct.
Was declaring that he's been diagnosed as bipolar. He's on medication, and his girlfriend and his mom and dad would tell you, huge change. He's working out, and he wants a comeback. He wants just some teams to invite him to camp to compete for a chance to be on a roster. So that's good, right?
Yes. You know that scene. All right. You know that scene in Half Baked? Are you familiar with that
I'm
movie?
familiar with
All right. So
I think
Half,
before you were born, to be honest.
it might have honestly been. So in Half Baked, they come back to the apartment, and the guy on the couch is sleeping there, and they need to know what happened to Kenny, and if the guy on the couch knows anything about it. So Chappelle asks him, like, guy on the couch, and he just goes, no. And the Spanish guy goes, yo, I believe him, yo.
I don't know why, but I believe.
I don't know why, but I believe him. And that's how I feel right now about Johnny Manziel. I listened to him on Part of My Take yesterday. Honestly, dude, there's a thing about addicts. They tend to trick you and make you believe into things. I heard the voice of a man who was more mature and learned from his mistakes. Now, does that mean that he's going to be a good NFL quarterback again, no, or ever. No, I don't think that. But I actually think something clicked with him this time around. I think he was genuinely sorry. I think he's genuinely embarrassed for the way he acted, as he should have been. He was a douche. I mean, pardon my take, he used the phrase like spoiled, entitled asshole, describing himself 10 times. And it couldn't have been more accurate. I don't know. He sounded genuine. I don't know what it is.
No, you're right. You're right. He sounded like he admitted to everything, and he talked about how LeBron tried to bring him under his wing in Cleveland, and he was just kind of like, yeah, but never really followed through with it. Said he never really gave Cleveland a chance. He was bad mouthing Cleveland behind closed doors to his friends all the time, just kind of bitching about his situation. And for someone to admit that, I mean, that's pretty, candid.
I thought so.
Oh, you know what that music means? It can only mean one thing. It means the sports pope is calling in to share his opinion on the Johnny.
Was he scheduled to come on?
No, he's a longtime listener. Let's see, Mike. Hold on, they gotta get rid of his music. Mike, you there?
Yeah, what's going on? I heard you talking about Manziel.
Manziel, Mike. Johnny Man.
Yeah. Johnny football. Yeah. I heard he's gonna come back and play in the XFL. Is that right, Brett?
No, Mike. Oh, God. I gotta explain the rules to you.
No, I'm the commissioner. He's gonna come back and play for my league. Yeah.
No, I know, and you probably never said that. You never said that.
No,
okay.
No, I didn't.
But you can't play in the XFL, Mike, if you have a previous criminal record, and Johnny Manziel has that.
Johnny Manziel has a criminal record.
Yeah, he's been arrested. Let's put it that.
Well, but he bipolar,
Yeah, I heard that too, Mike. I heard bipolar.
Yeah. Mike, would you take him on your team if you had a team?
Yeah, I think he's going to be great. I did. I said that in the beginning when he was coming out of A&M. I said, he's got all the tools. 5-tool player. He's a window thrower. He's
like how good? Like a Phillip Rivers good, or like a Aaron Rodgers good, or?
You asked me what his ceiling is.
Yeah, what's the ceiling?
I'd say his ceiling is somewhere between Roger Staubach and
oh God, Mike.
Joe Montana. Man, Steve Young.
Mike, he's not even 6 feet tall. What are you talking about?
Who? Roger Staubach wasn't 6 feet tall.
Johnny Manziel, Mike. Johnny Manziel is
Johnny Manziel. He's gonna play in the XFL, right?
Mike, how much are we paying for this fucking segment?
Okay, now we got to say goodbye to Mike. He's I don't think he took his medication today. So Sports Pope, we thank you.
Yeah, we're back.
All right, good.
Okay, bye, Mike.
That's good. I'd sign him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would sign him. I think I've been a Manziel fan since he was in A&M. I think he can still play. If he can get his head straight, I don't think you can teach half the skills that he has.
You know what? It's just a shot in the dark. I mean, if you find a good Manziel, then you win. But if you don't, you just want to cut him anyway. So who cares?
I think if depending on the situation I was in, I'd take a flyer on him.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna pay him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're gonna be like, yeah, hold on, we're gonna guarantee you like 5 years.
I'd obviously have to scout him first and see where he's at. But if he looked decent, why not take a run on him? He's still young. He's 25.
The best part about it is he might get an actual look, but Kaepernick still can't sniff a job. It's fucking embarrassing.
Who cares?
It's a tragedy.
Who got this one? Nikki?
I don't know. Which one is it?
Jeter fired.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
I don't know what this means.
So Derek Jeter comes in and he fires Billy the Marlin mascot, who's been there for about 14 years. He says, get out. He also fires Billy's sea creature friends, Bob the Shark. I think there was a couple other fish in there that they do like this thing, where the Brewers have the sausage run. The Marlins have like a fish run during the games, and Derek Jeter pretty much was like, "What is this, like a fucking circus? Get these clowns out of here!" And the whole Marlin fan base is up in arms. They're like, "Why are you firing our mascots, man?" And he's like, "Go cry me a river."
Yeah, all 8 of them are up in arms. Like
exactly. Show up to the freaking games.
I mean, this is a guy that was a Yankee for his whole life, who's built on tradition and just being a professional, and he probably goes to this Marlins organization and sees all these mascots and shit. He's like, "What is this? Like a fucking circus?"
It's literally a Mickey Mouse organization. Wayne Gretzky used that phrase one time to describe the Devils, and I will forever not like Wayne Gretzky because of that.
What I don't understand is like you look at the Yankees, right? And that's where he's coming from. The only like kitsch like thing the Yanks did was, remember, they still probably do it because they have nothing better they can think of. Remember when the YMCA, when the grounds crew would come out and they would do the YMCA and it was cute and it was funny and blah blah blah. They still do that, don't they?
Yeah.
That's the biggest like stretch,
like gimmicky stretch they have.
Gimmicky thing that team does. Period.
Yeah. Everything else is just baseball.
And like I don't understand how an entire city could kill this guy when they never showed up, and he's trying to make it financially solvent, and they overpaid a guy who's maybe one of the best players in baseball. I get it, but they have no attendance and no revenue to justify
and no playoff success.
So like you now have a guy who's coming in here who has a pedigree. Right, as a player, granted, he has a pedigree, but it's very akin to what everybody thought about Phil Jackson when he came into the Knicks. Right, you bring a guy in that knows what he's doing. He's a proven winner. He's never done this job before, so we'll see if it translates. But how can you kill him? How can you kill him for trying to change your culture from what was it, Larry the Shark? Like
Bob the Shark, Billy the Marlin.
Like, and for the record, he didn't fire the mascot Billy the Marlin. He fired the guy that plays Billy the Marlin. So there's still going to be a Billy the Marlin. Not that matters that much.
It worse.
Not that matters that much. It's just, it's stupid, man. Like, I don't know, Jeff.
I just like how this is even news. Like, this is exactly like somebody actually.
This was in the New York Post.
Like somebody actually reported this.
Let them put the product on the field and start judging, after a couple years.
Fucking embarrassing.
2 years, 3.
We got a roommate situation here, Nick.
Yeah, Giancarlo Stanton and AJ Ramos, who are actually teammates in Miami, now are both playing in New York. Ramos on the Mets, Stanton on the Yankees. Obviously, they're going to share an apartment during the season. I don't know why, but they're going to share an apartment.
Stanton's not making enough money, man. You got to cut corners, save a couple bucks.
They're going to split the electric bill.
Yeah, you got a roommate.
Well, think about it. I mean, he went from being in Miami where there was no state tax, and now he's got to play in New York. I mean, he's got to save that cash somehow.
We should probably start a GoFundMe for Stanton.
I think so.
He might need the extra cash.
Actually, if any of our listeners want to, they can Venmo me and Venmo cash for Giancarlo, and right. I'll take it.
And what's that that they're Venmoing you at?
You know what? I don't know. I'll find out for you next show.
For the end of the show, we'll find out. Was there what else? Where else did this happen? This happened before, right? Where somebody was sleeping on somebody's couch.
Yeah, but normally that happens with like rookies, I think.
Peter and A-Rod used to stay at each other's place.
No, I think it was when Linsanity was happening. I think he was sleeping on somebody's couch. I can't remember.
Well, that's when he just came in the league, right? So maybe.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense when you have two high-paid players.
Maybe they're gay.
Yeah, maybe they're gay.
Come on. Hey, why not? Whatever.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, who are we to judge? I don't want to be like
Aaron Judge.
Oh,
exactly.
And a belly to belly.
Well, Susan, that's baseball.
Did you guys see this Goose Gossage comment about Brian Cashman?
What did he actually say? I didn't see.
He called him an effing asshole because he didn't invite him to spring training to instruct the players. Meanwhile, he's inviting like guys like Mark Teixeira, Mariano Rivera, guys that have more recently retired, not these old hags that have been from like the 70s. I don't understand the big deal here.
Here's what I don't understand, right? Because Goose he's always run his mouth, but like, what does this get you? Like, what's Gossage's end?
His name out there, so people don't forget him.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I'll tell you what,
people forget.
People forget that Goose Gossage is an asshole, and there's no other way to say it. I mean, here's a guy that has no clue about what baseball is like nowadays. He's old man yelling at clouds. Like, And Brian Cashman told him that. Brian Cashman said the game has passed you by, and he got butthurt.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And I'm sorry, man. He can dish it out all the time. He can talk shit about Mariano Rivera, not really being that good because he only threw 1 inning. But he can't take it when it's thrown back at him. And he doesn't understand analytics. He makes fun of GMs and front offices for being a bunch of nerds. They don't know because they're not players, man. Like, shut up, dude. You look like you belong on the retiree version of Sons of Anarchy. Like, let it go. Let it go. It's time for you. I'm sorry, but there comes a time in everybody's life where your profession or your former profession has completely passed you by, and that is it for Goose.
I mean, what is he going to do if he goes down to spring training? He's instruct, guys like Sonny Gray, like, hey, Goose, what do you think I should, throw on like a 2-1 count? Yeah, just wind up and throw it as hard as you can.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to eat.
No, just fucking throw it. And if your arm's sore, keep throwing it.
I don't think that's the issue, though, because there's plenty of guys throughout the history of that franchise that they've invited back as special instructors for spring training that definitely brought no value to the table, right? The issue isn't that. The issue is that he can't play nice. That's the basic bottom line. If he would just accept the fact that the game has changed and that it was one way when he was there and he played well enough to be a Hall of Famer when he was there, and now he's just invited back to come back and be a part of a legacy program that the Yankees have that no other franchise really has, everything will be fine.
Sure.
But he can't do it.
But like I said, he's an asshole.
We got a caller checking in. JP Lincoln Park. He said you wanted to touch on the Cashman stuff. What do you got?
Listen, I'm completely with Brett on this. He's 66 years old. He has always been an asshole. And quite honestly, I don't care if Cashman is an asshole if he keeps bringing championships to New York. So he can call him an asshole all he wants. I don't care.
Let me tell you something. And thanks for the call. A lot of New York teams could use a quote unquote asshole like Brian Cashman to be running their show. Okay. I would welcome about 4 or 5 more assholes like Brian Cashman to be running teams like the Jets, the Giants, the Knicks, the Rangers. I mean, like, come on. The guy's proven right now. Aside from Lou Lamoriello over the last 25 years, Brian Cashman is the only one who's worth his weight in salt.
Surely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And ironically enough, Brian Cashman is a Devils season ticket holder.
Yeah,
I saw him at a game once.
Yeah. He rocks his jersey from time to time.
There's never been a more appropriate time.
Who cares?
Okay.
I know you care, Jeff. They're now down 4-2 after letting up.
God damn it. Their defense blows.
Well, nobody cares about hockey, Boomer. Your boy, Brett, Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, yo.
Sunday Red.
Set to play the Genesis Open for the first time since 2006. I saw that stat and I was like, that can't be right. But it is.
Yeah.
The first time to play it in 12 years. He's never won in 11 starts at Riviera.
And it will be 12 after this week. But
does it matter that he's going to play so soon after he played in his last tournament?
No, not really, because April is the Masters is just around the corner, guys.
What was the last tournament he played, though?
The last tournament he played was at oh wow, Devils struck back 4-3 in San Diego a couple weeks ago.
Well, he didn't play this last week.
No,
so he won't play tournaments that are consecutive.
He won't. The rule for him is he won't play tournaments that are back to back.
And the belly to
belly.
Got it. Okay.
Nice.
Isn't Genesis means like beginning or start, right? So maybe he's just kind of forming his own beginning.
We went a long way for that belly to belly. Just throwing that out there.
I know.
Who cares?
At least we got it.
This was the last one for me. I don't know if you legitimately saw any of this, but Steve Kerr was frustrated with the way that the Warriors had been playing. And so he basically looked at his players and said, fuck it, you think you can do a better job, you coach. And so Draymond was in like street clothes, drawing up plays in the huddle. Yeah, they blew out the Suns by 46 points.
Yeah.
So coaching in the NBA is apparently
not doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah.
If the Cavs coach just like died tomorrow, like, and they had to just go with LeBron as like a player coach, nothing would change.
Dude, 2 years ago, Luke Walton coached that team to like the best start in Warrior history.
Like 26 in a row or something.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
you know they won an insane. It was Luke Walton. Now he's with the Lakers. Guess what?
All of those wins, all those wins don't get attributed to Walton. They all get attributed to Steve Kerr.
Really? That I did not know. Great.
Every
great bit of
official win
research.
that happened in that run there that Walton was the head coach. They all go on Steve Kerr's record because he was the
Head coach.
yeah, because he was the head coach at the time.
Huh,
How far
that's
is that?
that's weird. You should get wins if you could. Not that it matters. I could coach the Warriors tomorrow and we'd win by 36 against the Suns.
But I do think that begs a serious question because we had talked a little bit about the Parcells and Belichick 30 for 30.
Yeah.
In my opinion, a head coach in football definitely makes a difference.
Well, obviously, yeah.
I think they're probably the ones that make the most difference in sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had to rank them in the four major sports.
Oh, it's football high and above the rest of the
head
three.
coach / manager. How would you rank it, Nick?
I would go football, hockey, baseball, basketball.
Brett?
I think I'm agreeing with that.
I'm going off based on strategy and stuff.
I think so. Yeah, pure strategy, sure. I was wrestling with baseball between 2 and 3. I get you with pure strategy. I would tend nowadays more to just rely on what the numbers tell me to do in that situation. So there's not a lot of strategy involved per se. But it involves a lot of decision making.
My issue with it is how do we look at it? Do we look like, because it's really easy to look at the best coaches or managers in every sport, right? So if you were to take a guy like Madden and you were to take, or who would you say, who would you argue is the greatest baseball manager of all time? Would you say it's La Russa? Is he in the conversation?
Yeah, he's definitely in the conversation. Maybe like Casey Stengel or.
The problem with a guy like Stengel is it was so long ago, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's not the modern game. So in the modern games, if we go with La Russa,
he's probably the best equivalent.
So Torre
in baseball.
Torre, maybe Mike Scioscia. But for real, I mean,
pick any of those guys. Doesn't matter, for argument's sake. We could go with Bowman in hockey. Is that fair?
Sure.
Is there anybody else that you would put above him off the top of your head?
No.
Above him, no.
And then basketball probably would be Phil, wouldn't it? Maybe Pop.
Arbach.
But again, Arbach's playing in a
just say Phil Jackson. Just say it.
Right? So let's say it's that, and then in football, it's probably Belichick, right?
Yeah.
If you were to replace any of those guys in those runs that they had with somebody that was subpar, right? Somebody who has a losing record as a head coach. What sport do you think has the best outcome? It's probably those teams that Jackson coached, right?
Yeah, because you could put Luke Walton in front of and coaching Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, and they still win titles.
Wait, what? Yeah, what question are you asking? What?
Who could you replace and it wouldn't make a difference?
Right, yeah, so it'd be Phil Jackson.
So let's look at all those sports, those best coaches or managers that you've got. If you were to replace all of them with somebody who had a below 500 record as a coach or a manager, who would have the most success? It's probably whoever picked up Phil Jackson's rosters, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean,
listen, listen, it matters. It still matters, obviously, especially at like a college level when you're molding guys into kind of the type of players you want.
College, at the end of college is a different story. College is programmatic.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying as a sport in general, football, you're literally game planning for 16 hours a day, Monday to Saturday. Like you're constantly game planning for the opponent, and whoever has the best game plan and execution is going to win on Sunday. Versus baseball or the other sports where you're kind of just playing almost every day or every few days. It's just there's not as much strategy.
Baseball to me, I don't know that I agree with that. I think baseball to me is more of like let's take the marathon strategy approach, right? Until you get to the postseason or until you get the one game playoff, you have to look at the whole thing as a long haul. You can't manage day to day. That's not how baseball works. So the mindset from a baseball manager for the regular season has to be one way, and then when you get to the postseason, you have to almost flip a switch and totally change who you are, which is what I think makes it difficult. I don't know.
It certainly is.
I just think if after watching that 30 for 30 on Belichick and Parcells, it reminded me how important the head coach is in a professional football team. And then watching what's happened in the NBA, where I legitimately watched players run the freaking huddle yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was, and have a blowout of 46. I have a hard time believing that it matters. That's all. That being said,
I think if you don't have like you were right, a good head coach is what matters. I don't think the Eagles win the Super Bowl if Peterson doesn't have an absolute massive pair of stones the entire game, and does an excellent job. He pushed all the right buttons, and another coach, if you replace him, might be a little too timid.
Yeah, Todd Bowles is not winning that Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
To your point, Brett, I think the perfect storm was Doug Peterson and Frank Reich being the head coach and offensive coordinator, who were two lifetime backup quarterbacks. So they knew exactly how to deal with Nick Foles and the situation he was put in. I think that played a big difference too.
I definitely think that helped. And I think, Peterson also having the trust of his players who called that Philly special play. It wasn't Peterson that Foles scored the touchdown on. Nick Foles called that play.
Yeah, Philly went to the sideline and said, it's crazy.
So, but at that moment, also not being a coach where your ego gets too big and you don't want to trust your quarterback to make calls. So you overrule him and call something else, and you throw a pass and you get picked off on the goal line when you should have just ran it in with Marshawn Lynch.
I don't know how we segued into football and how you suddenly turned it into a reminder that your team won a Super Bowl, even though
get the hell out of here. Mute him.
I mean, that was some impressive political posturing that you just did right there. I mean,
God damn it. Now I'm pissed off again.
Who cares?
God damn, that was impressive. History major right there, right? The NBA, the National Basketball Association. Nikki, you had some thoughts on the locals.
Yeah, the New York basketball kind of NBA teams have been just more than embarrassing. The Knicks have lost 7 in a row. The Nets have lost 6 in a row. Both have just not even really put up fights lately. The Knicks lost in Philly last night, and their French rookie, what's his name?
Frank Ntilikina.
He played 21 minutes last night, scored 0 points and 0 assists. What do you guys think about that?
Who would have had more points last night? Fultz, if he had gotten to play with that awful jump shot.
It's ugly. I don't know. Have you seen it?
Yes, it's bad. Like, I feel like I'm watching him play and I'm like, yo, I could do better.
No, it's
like I could do better.
It's borderline your like 6th grade shot.
It's really not good.
What about Tim Hardaway Jr., who has missed 26 of his last 28 threes?
I was having this conversation with a Knick fan buddy of mine who has gone back and forth like I have with this franchise. And he's a phys ed teacher, and he back in the day when Isaiah was running the franchise, he went into the cafeteria at the school and grabbed the microphone that was hooked up to the sound system in the school at the time. And he goes, I just want to announce that until James Dolan fires Isaiah Thomas, I am renouncing my Knick fandom. And literally dropped the mic and walked out of the cafeteria. And everybody just looked at him like, why did he just do that? That is that's the level of insanity. Shout out Mike Cardell. That's the level of insanity that us Knick fans have. Like, we are legitimately insane for this team. So I need to preface it with that before I say anything else. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 8 games where he looked really good. He's not really good. He's a 6th man, 7th man that can come off the bench and give you 10 or 11 points a game and be a spark. That's who he is. That being said, they paid him as a starter. And so they're gonna be saddled with that stupid contract, the same way they're saddled with the stupid Joakim Noah contract, same way they're saddled with this stupid Courtney Lee contract for the next 2 years. And so they're gonna have no real flexibility to do anything except for hopefully draft. And they're not gonna be able to draft because they already have 23 fucking wins. So they've already outkicked their coverage when it comes to falling in the draft. to get a top 5 draft pick because they're already 11th in the East. So they still have like 10 teams that they'd have to jump over or fall behind, I guess, in theory is what the term would be, to get a pick that actually matters. So even when they lose poorly. It's fucking incredible. And then they just traded at the deadline for Emmanuel Mudiay, who I loved coming out of college or coming out of I guess he was playing overseas in China. I loved him in the draft. He looked like he was an explosive player. He apparently can't get his head straight, and in Denver he was a disaster, and Denver couldn't wait to get rid of him. So now the Knicks have 4 fucking point guards on their roster,
and none of them are good.
The only one that can actually play is Jarrett Jack, and he's in the twilight of his career. So what are we doing? Like and they traded Billy Hernangomez for a bag of balls. So they had this glut of big men that could play. That Hornacek wouldn't play Hernangomez, and now they've got 4 fucking point guards, none of which can do the job. It's legitimately, if you were to write this down as some sort of fiction and then at the beginning of the year and open it in February and be like, did this happen? You'd be like, there's no way that would happen. But it does, because it's the Knicks. And that's what the Knicks do. They're absolutely embarrassing. They've been embarrassing for 20 years. 20 years. Since 19 years. Since they made the finals in 99, they've been a complete joke. Complete joke. So it's to the point, and this is Brett, I mean, you've known me forever. It's to the point where I'm legitimately considering stopping watching professional basketball, because I've gone 20 years with maybe 1 or 2 seasons that have been worthy of watching. Forget about being really into, like, worth even dedicating the time to watch. 2 years out of 20. I'm only 36 years old, dude.
I think that's it. I think that's the possible bright spot, is you're only 36 years old. Like,
yeah, but
hang in there, because it's going to make your
more than half my life. This team has been dog shit.
I know, and
not even mediocre, complete dog shit. So what am I doing? Like, and this nonsensical argument that it's the mecca of basketball. That's bullshit. If it was the mecca of basketball, somebody would come here and want to play.
It's the mecca of basketball because the stars love going in there and dropping 60 one night and then bouncing.
The visiting teams love coming in and lighting up the Garden.
Yeah, LeBron just wants to come in and just, whip his dick.
You're right.
And just like, boom. Listen, man, it's tough. Look, when you're bad, it'd be one thing if you were just bad. You're just a bad basketball team, and it'd be tough to swallow the concept of being just a bad team for 20 years. But it's the incompetence from your owner. And I still don't get it, because he keeps the Rangers competitive
until now.
Until now, they sent out. Anybody see the memo they sent out? By the way,
I think it was brilliant.
I
think it was brilliant.
Yeah, hashtag release the memo. That's what I'm all about. So that's what bothers me the most about it, is the incompetence from your management system. That's what would make me want to give up on them, not that they were just bad. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean by that?
I know what you're saying. I've literally bathed in it for 20 years. Yeah, I know exactly what it is. And look, here's the problem. Here's the Knicks' biggest problem. Is everything you said is true. And I would venture to say at least 65 to 70% of Knicks fans are Yankee fans. And so they understand what a well-run organization looks like, and they know that this isn't it. And so it's unacceptable. But what's even more unacceptable, it's the most valuable franchise in the NBA.
Yeah. I guess that's just Manhattan. I guess that's the address.
Why do anything differently? Why do anything differently? It doesn't matter.
I've said that before, though. I've made that argument. When they sell out every night, what incentive is there for somebody to improve already making the maximum amount of money you can make?
Well, I don't think that they are. I don't think that they're making the maximum amount of money.
Okay.
I think if they had a perennial NBA title contender on the floor, they could sell tickets for more money than they're selling them for.
Okay, so that just means you continue to get priced out.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying from a business perspective, if the team was better, they would make more money. They would.
Yes, I can't argue that with you. I'm just saying it's not like the building is half empty every night.
No, it's not. And I don't understand why. Like, I really don't understand why.
Visiting fans come and see.
Yeah, it's New York, man. It's New York.
A lot of the today's day and age is kids, at least, maybe my age or a little bit older, are losing interest in teams. They just follow stars. So they have a million different jerseys of different players from different teams, and they just follow those stars. So if the Thunder are coming to town, you're going to see about 5,000 Russell Westbrook jerseys in Madison Square Garden. That's just what happens.
I guess that's tough for me to understand, because I obviously have not grown up in that day and age. I feel like as I've gotten older, I've kind of drifted to that mentality, mostly because my team stinks. But I have to imagine, like, if my team was any good, like, I would hate some of these guys in the NBA. Like, if the Knicks were really competitive, I wouldn't want to watch the Greek Freak succeed. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to watch the Wizards succeed or Kyrie Irving do well. Like, I would hate those guys. But right now, they're all I've got, and that sucks. And for 20 years, that sucks. Like, there are people that are your age, Nick, that legitimately don't remember any success that the Knicks have ever had, ever.
The most success they remember was the Linsanity, or the 1 year they went with the playoffs with Melo. That was it.
And with Jason Kidd, because Jason Kidd essentially pulled the Draymond Green and coached that team. So.
Yeah, that actually was like a fun year. And I'm not, I'm not trying to pour salt on the wound, but like, then the one bright spot you have tears his ACL.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
and you're like, all right, well, fuck. Now he's a big man with a significant knee injury.
Yep.
And he's young.
I'm not really worried about that, because
I'm not saying you should be. That's not the point. I'm just saying
it's very unfortunate, and I'm upset about it, but I'm not all that worried about it preventing him from having a good career. What kind of disappoints me is that they hinted at that he was not right for like probably about a month and a half. He went with like, "Oh, I'm tired" nonsense, and then like the guy blows out his knee. Like,
yeah,
he's 21 or 22 years old, and he's 7 foot whatever. Like, his body's not normal. Like,
but that's what I think might give me a little bit of trepidation. Is like, you never want to hear like big man and knee. It's just like the worst one out of them all.
To be honest with you, here's where I disagree with you. Right. Like, big man and knee, I watched an entire career of a big man with knees that were banged up, right?
But he had braces on them.
But he had a ridiculous career. I mean, like, by all accounts, whether you like Patrick Ewing or not, the guy's a surefire Hall of Fame, top at this point, top 100 player of all time.
Surely.
And if that's what you can get out of Porzingis, then home run. The thing that scares me is more the feet. A guy like Yao Ming who hurts his foot and then is just immediately done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we start to see stuff like that, then we're in trouble.
Hopefully the plus side is he is young, and
what disappoints me is that they didn't lose him like 3 or 4 weeks earlier, because they have too many wins, man. They have too many wins. And if I had to place a bet right now, I would bet you the Nets finish with more wins than the Knicks.
Have you watched them recently?
Oh, man, it is bad. I mean, we did our over-under at the beginning of the year, and I think it was 14.5. And I think my phrase was, I'm going to say under because fuck them.
No, they already passed that, didn't they?
They are. They're at like 19 or something.
I said that they can get to like 25, 30. And I mean, that's still obviously in a possibility, but I'm just kind of disappointed with, that they added some pieces like Okafor and Stauskas and D'Angelo Russell, and they still just are getting blown off the floor. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, you need Jeremy Lin to come back.
Well, that was a big blow once that happened,
But here's the funny part about that.
Hopes went down the drain.
Is that shouldn't be like we shouldn't be hinging our hopes on Jeremy Lin.
No.
So that team's just, there's a whole mess. The last person this is how bad the Nets are. The last person I really truly enjoyed playing in a Brooklyn uniform was Brook Lopez.
Oof. And he sounds like I don't know, some sort of robot. Baseball is right around the corner.
Yes, it is.
Let's
Paul,
close.
why
it.
don't you give us a update?
What do you think, Paul?
Pitchers
Fuck
and
you guys.
pitchers and catchers today, Paul.
Whatever, yeah, Paul.
Okay. All right.
Yeppo's not here, Paul. I don't know. I don't know why you would, trash him.
Come on. Hang on.
Whatever, dude.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. That was good. Here's my take on baseball. I have never been more excited for baseball to start because every other sport in New York is a complete dumpster fire. So I am looking forward to baseball, and I like baseball, but I've never really been looking forward for baseball to start. This year, I am excited for baseball to start.
Me too, my friend. Me too. And I got bleacher seats right in home run territory, and I can't wait, man.
Bring your glove.
I can't. Well, you know what's great is when I bring my son, I'll have an excuse to actually bring a glove, and I don't. Have
It's for my son. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to be that weird.
The weird guy that has his glove.
What's up? I'm in my mid-30s. I brought a glove to a game. What's going on? I don't have to do that.
Will you take him this year? The two of you?
Yeah. I'm gonna take him this year, just once to experience it, and then
That sounds to me like a 3-inning experience.
yeah, it's not. I plan on it not being long. I plan on just getting there and walking
Hopefully.
as much of the concourse as we can, and sitting in the bleachers for half hour, 45 minutes, and then bouncing.
Hopefully, day game, right?
Depending on the weather, maybe
Yeah.
a day game. But I also don't want him out in 85-degree heat with the sun blaring down.
Well, he doesn't have your half African skin either.
He does not. He is quite.
He's
He's
very
the
Aryan.
pasty little boy.
He's
he's
quite Aryan looking.
Yeah, he's a fair-skinned child, but I'm excited. It's going to be, not that I want to get too sentimental about that stuff on the show, but I think that'll be a special moment in my life when I'm able to walk through the gates and up the stairs and look out onto the field and have my son with me. So I'm pretty excited, and that's another reason why baseball season I can't get here soon enough. So go Yanks, let's go.
Do you think they have too much in the outfield?
No.
You don't.
No.
Okay.
No,
You know why?
No, I don't.
Because someone's gonna get fucking injured in 6 weeks into the season, and they're gonna be so happy that they have an extra outfielder.
It'll be Jacoby Ellsbury, but it'll solve
No, but,
some of the
God forbid
problems.
if Aaron Judge hurts his arm or something and he's out for 6 weeks, you can just throw Stanton in there and it's the same player.
And it's nice to have that flexibility regardless. You can just rotate guys in and out. Judge can sit one night a week. Stanton can sit one night a week, and just keep them fresh that way and get Hicks playing. I want to see what Hicks can do.
I want to see Hicks starting in center, to be honest.
Me too. I think he's the best athlete that for that position out there.
Is Hicks? Is this a year where if Hicks doesn't produce in this lineup, that even, especially if they get under the threshold, that Harper becomes a realistic possibility if Hicks doesn't do what they want him to do?
Yeah. Yes. You cut the Aaron. It's 3 years at that point.
Right?
Yeah, but they're gonna go after Harper with Stanton's contract too.
Stanton's contract is not as financially bad. I mean, we broke it down, I think, on the show a little bit, but the finances of it are not crippling.
I mean, obviously, if revenue continues to even stay flat, not even increase,
Yeah.
the last 2 years of that deal, they're probably not going to love, but it's not going to be like the last 2 years of A-Rod's deal.
Exactly.
So I think if you're the problem with Harper is if he's really looking for a $500 million contract, I just can't see. I can't see anybody doing that.
I think those days, for now, are hindered, but he's going to get a big deal. But I don't see the
Open market right now. What would you?
I don't know. I couldn't even peg it. I'm being honest. Because he's going to be worth what someone's willing to pay.
Well, if you heard that if he signed a 10-year, $400 million contract, would you be like, yeah, okay, I get that?
No, I don't get it.
I wouldn't get it, but if you're talking to me about a team that's, luxury tax spending hit is reduced, maybe I could see a team with deep pockets doing something like that.
Because that's the Yanks' intention, is that this year they get under that, they reset the luxury tax, and then they can go back in and.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are probably going to have to pay for Clayton Kershaw, and pay significantly, and do something where I try and excuse me, I try and avoid, and that's paying for past performance,
Right.
Because Kershaw's a pitcher and because he's had some injuries in his most recent years. But they're going to have to shell out a shit ton of money to keep Clayton Kershaw, and they're going to be paying for his past years, not what he's going to bring to the future. So he's still amazing. I'm not talking shit on Clayton Kershaw. I'm just saying that teams like that, the Yankees and the Dodgers, are going to need to hand out a lot of money. They're the only ones that I see doing it.
I do think that baseball, out of any of those sports, though, any of the major sports, does the best job, or is starting to do the best job of not paying for past performance.
Yes, they are. But that's what Scott Boras is now bitching about, is collusion.
Well, Scott Boras and Goose Gossage should go out to dinner.
They should. They
air their grievances.
I wonder who would pick up that tab.
They both just sit there, cross their arms.
I can't believe you're not picking up this tab. I can't believe you're not picking up this tab.
You're a fucking asshole.
You're a Hall of Famer. How are you not picking up this tab?
Just start a fight in the restaurant.
Boris starts to complain about the new tax code.
I can't deduct my meal with Goose Gossage on my tax returns.
You had written here, Nick, if the Mets stay healthy, they can be a wild card contender.
Yeah. Also, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Who the fuck is Jay Bruce?
Okay. Nailed it.
I mean, come on now. I mean, this is the most bullshit argument I've heard in all of New York sports on the radio. Is like, well, the Mets have such a great pitching staff and their lineup is great. If they stay healthy, did you see what they did last year? Their whole team was wiped out.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with the statement. Like, and let's just say if they are healthy, I do think they could be a wild card contender.
Count the white man.
Yeah, where's this 100-win bet?
I'm nowhere near going that far, but I mean, like, dude, I don't know why, I guess people in general continue to sleep on him, but I think Jacob deGrom is one of the best pitchers in the major leagues. I think he's fantastic, and I think he's better than Noah Syndergaard. He's obviously better than Matt Harvey, but like, imagine Harvey turns it around on his walk year. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we'll see about that.
He might,
but I think that's a possibility.
I think you're more likely to see Harvey not turn around this year, and then sign in like Minnesota and have like a Cy Young year
in that giant ballpark.
Yeah, I can definitely see something like that happening too. I don't think Steven Matz is going to stay healthy, because that never happens.
Or Zach Wheeler. Did you see what he said?
What?
He said he's been taking these like growth repair pills every day to make sure that he avoids injury throughout the year. And some guy was like, what's that? And he's like, well, it's some new hormone that I've been taking. It helps repair my muscles and my bones so I don't get hurt.
I got news for you, Zach. You probably shouldn't be admitting that you're taking those types.
Yeah, we'll get the drug test in June.
Yeah.
Not so fast, Pat Sajak.
Yeah.
But they got, they added Ramos, they got Cespedes, they brought Jay Bruce back. I don't think Jose Reyes is going to.
Fuck is Jay Bruce?
Offensively, but if Conforto stays healthy, then like
this
team can win games in the National League. I don't think they're better than the Nationals by any stretch of the imagination, but they also shouldn't finish 20 games plus behind them.
I like the Frazier signing. I think he'll add some leadership where David Wright has disappeared.
Yeah.
I think they're a decent team. I mean, I don't think a ceiling of 88 to 90 wins is if everything breaks right, is unrealistic. I really don't.
I agree.
I don't think they'll do it, but I don't think you could look at it and say that, that they won't. I think the over under that Vegas has is at 79 for the Mets, Which
Yeah, I'd take the over.
I would take the over on. I would. But that being said, it's all predicated on
Health.
These pitchers staying healthy. Forget about the rest of the roster. I mean, it's if two of these guys go down like they have every other year for a very extended period of time, it's over. You know, and that's for every team, really. I mean, but these young hot guys have really proven out that this is what they do, right? I mean that's
they are who we thought they were.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I can't wait for baseball. Let's get it going.
How you doing, bartender? Give me one more of those Scotch and Peptos. I got a case of squirts, but I still want to drink.
All right, let's do it. We got former Turn 2 college football expert Sean checking in with a text message. Shaun White just dropped a monster run in the Olympics. That red mane was like 20 feet over the pipe. So, according to ESPN.com, he wowed the crowd on his first run with a 14:40, which is just bonkers. Of a score of 94 and a quarter, he's in first place. So, it's not really surprising to me that Shaun White would probably win the gold. Did either of you catch any of the women's half pipe last night?
No, I heard it was awesome, but I didn't see it.
It was sick. It was sick. But the problem was like some of these other countries, like the chick from Australia, like she did a run and like it was fine, or and some of the other ones that I saw, they were fine, but it legitimately looked like something that people that we know would do. Like the Americans and the one girl from China were so far and above and beyond
everybody else,
better than everybody else. They looked like they could actually hang with the men. But all the other women looked like something that, an out of shape freaking college kid could do on the half pipe.
Huh.
So I don't know. All right, last call. Brett, what do you got? Anything?
I don't think I have anything. I was gonna bitch about LeBron, but I just don't want to do it this show. So I'll just save it for next week.
Okay, good. Nicky J, what do you got?
The NHL season is a long, hard grind, and hope the Devils can find themselves. But right now they're in a free fall, and they've been absolutely brutal to watch. I hate watching no defense in hockey, and the Devils have had no defense.
Yeah, the big disappointment that I have for us for this year is that we didn't make the trek out to Las Vegas. Right, we had talked a big game about going out to Las Vegas and seeing the Knights play the Devils, and
it was just tough.
We should just volunteer ourselves, take a nice group trip, the three of us, down to DC for a Capitals Devils game, and then we'll just stay at Yempo's house.
He would welcome that.
He would love it. We could stay at Casa. I'll even tell you right now, we can stay at Casa de Yempo.
Yeah, don't even.
All right, so I shouldn't have brought it up then.
No.
So now, guess what, Nick? When he asked,
I guess I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my close for tonight. Dwayne Wade going back to Miami. I think that's a nice little bookend on his career. I think that's where he should have ended. I'm hoping that he actually retires at the end of the year, because I think even though he could contribute off the bench for probably about 10 points a game somewhere,
go off on a high note.
Go out in Miami, make it happen. You hug Pat Riley, it's over. And I think very few times do you get a chance in sports to actually do that. So I hope he takes advantage of it. Thanks for taking the time, folks. We do appreciate it. A little quick plug for our own Loan Outside contributor, Nick Janarone. He's got a new little venture that he's doing online for those of you that are interested in food and beer. Nicky, why don't you give it a quick little plug?
Yeah, I have a little personal blog about cooking and saving some money. So if anyone's interested in learning how to cook a little bit, thought it was too hard, check out my blog. I show you how it's easy. Throw a little personality in there, and I'll give you a beer or wine pairing to throw in there with the meal.
So I'll put the link to that in the show notes so you guys can check it out. I don't know if he even remembers what it is off the top of his head, so I'm not gonna necessarily put him on the spot for it there, but I will. I'll put the link to that in our notes here.
Also put in at Brett-Batisak for Venmo.
For Venmo, yeah.
For Giancarlo.
That's important
to get him an apartment.
That is important. I think it'd be interesting if we put that stuff in there and then you just got like some random like $1 Venmo from some random dude that you don't think you don't.
You know what? It's $1 more than he had.
Exactly. And we put that dollar towards, we mail it right to the Bronx in an envelope. It's courtesy of, care of Giancarlo Stanton. And, hopefully he takes that and
Get your,
puts it towards his electric bill with AJ Ramos.
Yeah.
Get yourself half of a dirty water hot dog. And that'll be that. So that's what we got, boys and girls. Thank you for taking the time. We'll see you next week. Hey, next week, just a quick little refresher for you because we had to push it this week. We're going to do a reflective Just the Tips Valentine's Day segment, and every beer that gets drank on this show next week will be a minimum of 11%. Take it easy.
Desperandum, dear lady, across the desert lies the promised land. Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop. Adieu, auf Wiedersehen, Gesundheit, farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee.